To expand on what my partner stated, that missile defense systems are extremely costly. The cost to develop and test missile systems have increased exponentially over the past 50 years. Their estimates totaled $120 billion through 2015. Also, if it costs so much to simply develop and test missile defense systems, by extension it will cost even more to actually deploy them. National missile defense deployment is also riddled with budget uncertainties. Also, just about all defense projects finish much over the projected costs. According to Lauren Hall in her book Weapons Under Fire, national missile defense still remains a program plagued with major unresolved cost issues. The consistent historical pattern in American defense policy has been that any high-tech weapons program comes in well over budget. The political realities historically have been for Congress to stretch out many weapons programs, pushing those out to the out years when the hope is that the budget will be larger, or other critical budgetary demands will be smaller, an unlikely scenario. The resulting ripple effect from these decisions can be totally disruptive, even counterproductive, programmatically. Given patience, the program gets most of what it needs. Unfortunately, late, possibly short, and at a greater cost. Overall, missile defense systems are not worth it. According to Johann Holst, a foreign minister, it turns out that there are no foolproof, cheap, simple, and high-confidence ways to decoy a threat. The best high-confidence methods are not cheap, nor are they simple to execute. He stated this in 1969. As you can see, that is still true. Just as it hasn't changed in over 40 years, it is unlikely to change anytime soon. Also, alternative options are already available and at a much lower cost, or even free. Arms control is more productive than missile defense. Also, without missile defense, countries will have to face the consequences of their actions against other nations, meaning they will act more cautiously. According to Dr. Andrew, a political science professor at the University of Central Florida, arms control efforts are more productive endeavors than national and missile defense. Leaders should pursue assertive efforts aimed at scaling back all the arms available to all parties. By completely banning national missile defense, no state, including the United States, is able to hide from the consequences of its actions. Choices will be made with the full realization that severe military consequences will result. This realization breeds caution. Also, military force becomes the last option, not the first, or at least is not quickly invoked. Negotiated solutions are best because in open and free negotiations, both sides participate and agree, reducing future resentments and incentives to reverse matters. In fact, the opposition's argument becomes essentially that national missile defense contains certain unintended consequences, whose actual impact is to decrease the level of national security achieved. An example of an alternative option in recent years, is the Cuban Missile Crisis. The U.S. did not pursue a missile defense system. Instead, it put a blockade and negotiated with the Soviet Union. In the end, the missiles were dismantled and were sent back to the Soviet Union. Also, equivalent civilian technologies already exist in the realm of missile detection. For example, the civilian Akanos remote sensing satellite provided startling clear images of the secretive North Korean launch facility. Not quite military grade, but fully capable of being upgraded. Overall, missile defense systems are not feasible and not worth pursuing because they are costly, they are not effective, they are not a likely way that an attacker would attack, they provocate, it is provocative to other nations, and there are better options available, and many others.